Hello, everybody. Hello. So glad to see everybody here. Happy Saturday. Happy, at least where I am, completely gorgeous, beautiful, amazing spring Saturday and the exact right weather to be celebrating May Day. Happy May Day. Happy May 1 to everybody. And so glad you're here. And happy also International Workers' Day. We will be actually honoring both traditions in the room today. One song with the Amidons and one song with Jencks. And more coming up after we greet everybody. Hello to everybody out there on Facebook Live. We are so glad you are with us today. Happy May Day and happy International Workers' Day. And hello to everybody in the room. Hello, Aaron Geyer, and thank you for running tech for us today. Hello, Peter and Mary Alice Amidon. We're so glad you're singing with us. Hi, Deborah in Kentucky. And hello to Mabel in Massachusetts, Susan in Ohio, Jane in Pennsylvania, Deli in Maryland. Hello, Al. Great to see you today. Playing away on your guitar already. Nancy, good morning, or good afternoon, good evening. Hello, Dick and Victoria from Getting Higher Choir, and Sheila, hello in Florida. Dennis and Victoria, how are you today? And hello to Kevin in New Hampshire, not Kenneth in, yeah, we got it. Hi, Kevin. Hi, Becky in Vancouver, and Martha in Oregon, and Kathleen in Albuquerque, Carol in Connecticut, Sarah in Texas. I have a whole line of the cocktail party crew from last night all in a row there. I love it. Hello to Trish in Victoria, and Arlene in California, Doug in Vermont, Susan in Seattle, Bonnie and Ione coming in from maybe Michigan. Great to see you. Hello to Anna in Maine. Nice to see you today. Luda in Victoria, Barb in Virginia, Sue, Sean, hello, nice to see you. Jean in Pittsburgh, Jamie in Victoria, Harriet in Chicago. Hello, Natalia, maybe in Poland and maybe not. Hello to Tom in Victoria, Peter and Janet in Toronto, or at least the Peter half so far. Hello to Lynn in Connecticut, and hello to Susan in North Carolina, Jim in New York, Bob, hello in Massachusetts, and Kathy in upstate New York. Hello, Storm in Mass, and Anne in Maryland, Dan in Vienna, Carolyn in Idaho, Nancy's Irish Cow in Washington, and folks off video, hello, Mommy in New Jersey, hello, Gwyn and Dawn, and hello to Barbara and Sarah and other folks still popping into the room. We're so glad you're with us today. Thank you for being here. And if we didn't say hello to you personally, we will get you on the goodbye end today as we leave. So again, I want to wish everybody a happy May Day and a happy International Workers' Day. 2 amazing days with lots of fuel for chat that we'll be talking about in here in the room. And I want to just note that my email is in the chat. If you're new to us and you want to be on our email list, you can send me an email letting me know, or you can put your email address in the chat. The lyrics will be in the chat to both songs. And there's also a donate link in the chat. In year 2 of this program, we are operating out of Carpe Diem Arts. And so all of the donations now are going to the Carpe Diem Arts link. And as per usual, as in the first year, all of the money that is donated is going directly to the artists who are leading us in song. Speaking of which, let's all give a big shout of welcome to today's first artists, Peter and Mary Alice Amidon, coming in from Vermont to bring us a beautiful song with a lot of history. We are super excited to sing with you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Happy May.
Woohoo,
Happy
here we
May
are,
Day.
the 1st of May. So Mary Alice and I, for 25 years, has been a tradition that we've had in Brattleboro and Putney, where Fred Brunig's Morris dancers go up and dance at sunrise on May Day, on the 1st day of May. And this is the first year we haven't done that because of COVID. No, the second year actually.
On Putney Mountain.
On Putney Mountain, and we have to get up at 4 in the morning to get out there to drive, to walk the half hour to get up to the top. And they just, the moment the sun starts rising, and it's this amazing view, 360-degree view, and they start doing their Morris dancing. The Putney Morris men and another area women's team also, whose name I forget. And so today, last I mentioned, one of the reasons we like going up there is because Keith Murphy and Becky Tracy, a lot of you know, their son Aiden is our godson, and he was born on May 1st, so he would actually be dancing with them, and we always made a special effort to go up there to honor Aiden. And today we couldn't do that because of COVID, but Mary Alice is going to tell you what we did in a very safe and responsible way.
Yes, we have a very beautiful maypole. I wish I could show it to you, made by Andy Davis, and I made the ribbons, and for 25 years I carried it in my car down to Hudson Valley to schools and did dancing with kindergartners and first graders and second graders of the maypole. So This morning we had, maybe you know, Rachel Bell, Karen Axelrod, our neighbors, and our grandchildren, and Stefan and Zara, and it was very jolly and lovely.
So that was just, we actually had to leave that to come here, and everybody's gone home, and our grandchildren have gone home, and we're going to sing, and now you're our family, so welcome. We're very, very happy to see you. We're going to sing one of my favorite songs in the world. We learned this, like many of our favorite songs, from Dr. Tony Barrand, the great English singer who lives up the hill from us. It's called Tempus Adest Floridum is the original. It was a 13th century flower song from the and it's from the what's it here? It's from the I got to look this up, make sure I get it right to say this right.
Pia Cantionis.
Oh yeah, Pia Cantionis, right. And it was this melody of this was stolen by John Mason Neale in the 19th century, and he set Good King Wenceslas to it. So everybody thinks about this as the Good King Wenceslas tune, but it's not. It's actually the Flower Carol song. And in Latin, it's Tempus adest floridum surgent nemque flores. But enough of that. You have it in your chat. The whole song is a chorus, because you know the melody already. So get your chat up there so you can read the lyrics.
Take note of some beautiful poetry here.
Amazing. This was translated from the Latin by the Oxford Book of the Oxford Book of Carols in 1928 to this amazing, beautiful English. And it's just my favorite. And when Joe asked us to do a song for May, I just thought we have to do this one. So again, the whole song is the chorus. You know the melody. Get out your chat. We're just going to bash through it. Yeah, spring has now unwrapped the flowers. We'll do it nice and slow so you can enjoy all of the poetry.
And I'll be on melody the first time, and then I'll do harmony after that, so you can hear Peter if you need the melody more.
There we go. Spring has now unwrapped the flowers. Day is fast reviving. Life in all her growing powers toward the light is striving. Gone the iron touch of cold, winter time and frost time. Seedlings working through the mold now make up for lost time. Herb and plant that winter long slumbered at their leisure, now bestirring green and strong, find in growth their pleasure. All the world with beauty fills, gold the green enhancing. Flowers make glee among the hills and set the meadows dancing. Earth puts on her dress of glee, flowers and grasses hide her. We go forth in charity, brothers all beside her. For as we this glory see in the awakening season, reason learns the heart's decree, and hearts are led by reason. Through each wonder of fair days, God herself expresses. Beauty follows all her ways, as the world she blesses. So as she renews the earth, artist without rival, in the grace of glad new birth, we must seek revival. So as she renews the earth, so as she renews the earth, artist without rival, in the grace of glad new birth, we must seek revival. Thank you. The Flower Carol, wonderful. What a great song.
Can you kind of imagine a nice Morris drum beating and a type and tabor sounding and a big band behind that, or not?
Yeah, no, you sure can. Thank you, Peter and Mary Alice. That was absolutely exquisite and really interesting, the ways in which there's the sort of winter carol triggers that are happening exactly as we're singing about the spring. And it was a really nice interplay. And I didn't know this one before today. And I think it's a really great one to bring into your repertoire so you can clean sort of the Christmas out of it from singing it enough in the springtime. So I guess you're 25 years ahead of me on that, and but I'm going to try and catch up. So thank you so much. And so we also have Joe Jencks in the room today, who is going to sing a song for us. honoring the International Workers' Day, which is also May 1. And I think after Joe sings, we're going to discuss both May Day traditions and International Workers' Day. So Joe Jencks, can you go ahead and unmute, and I will highlight you.
Yeah, I'm unmuted now, I think. Yeah, what a great song. I'm going to have to learn that. Thank you to the Amidons for that wonderful piece. I miss seeing you at Old Songs, since there hasn't been an Old Songs in person the last few years, but great to see you here. And there we go. So, yeah, this is a song I wrote many years ago called Rise as One. For school workers up in Ashtabula County, Ohio, in a little place called Jefferson Village. And it ended up sparking an entire album, and I want to give a shout out today on May Day to Ann Feeney, who passed in early February. We had a memorial in early April for Ann, and she is being buried today at the memorial to the unknown miner next to Mother Jones. And I cannot imagine a greater final resting place for Ann's earthly remains than next to Mother Jones. I'm moved to tears just to mention it. But this song was really celebrating the spirit of those workers. There were 98 workers in that union local, and they had not gone on strike in decades. They had to call other unions to even learn how to go on strike. These are what are called classified workers, OAPSE Ohio Association of Public School Employees. These are the lunchroom workers and the janitors and the groundskeepers and school security and bus drivers and clerical staff and, you know, all the people that make education happen other than the teachers. And so often OAPSE and the teachers' unions work hand in hand to stand by each other, as was the case here. But they really, they were sort of lost in the woods, and bit by bit, other people from the community and from the region came to help them stand up for dignity in the workplace. And so on Workers' Memorial Day, May 1st, internationally recognized, some of you have heard the hymn, the International, "Arise, ye prisoners of starvation, arise, ye toilers of the earth." This is the sort of the hymn of the international labor movement. And I decided that these good workers in Ashtabula County, Ohio, needed their own hymn to their own movement, Rise as One. So the chorus is easy enough to learn. It goes like this. We will never give up, we will never give in, and we'll never ever go away. We will build a brand new future for our daughters and our sons. We will work till all workers rise as one. You can try that with me from the comfort of wherever you happen to be. We will never give up. We will never give in. We'll never, ever go away. This is something that one of the workers said to me. I said, well, you know, when you finally decided to go out on strike, you know, what was it that sort of led you in that direction? She said, well, we tried to sit down and you know, they wouldn't give us a measly raise, but they spent $500,000 to hire a union-busting lawyer to come in and try and break our union rather than just have an honest conversation with us. What we were asking for was a fraction of what they spent just on that one lawyer. And that made us all so mad. I just finally stood up in the meeting and said, well, you better talk to us because we're never going to give up, we're never going to give in, and we're never going to go away. And I realized, there you go. Out of the mouths of the rank and file, there is the chorus of this song. We'll sing it once more, and then I'll do the whole song. We will never give up, we will never give in, and we'll never ever go away. We will build a brand new future for our daughters and our sons. We will work till all workers rise as one. It is we who serve the lunches, and we who sweep the floors, and We who drive the buses with your children off to school, we keep the buildings warm in winter and cool when it's hot. And we will not let you play us for the fool. When we ask for better health care or an increase in our wage, you tell us that the township can't afford to pay the bill, but you found $500,000 from within those very coffers to try and break the union's back and break our will. And we will never give up, we will never give in, and we'll never ever go away. We will build a brand new future for our daughters and our sons. We will work till all workers rise as one. We believe in education and the future of our town, and the children that we serve from day to day. Whenever there's a need, we always go the extra mile. God knows we do it for the love, not for the pay. But we have worked as hard as any for every inch of ground that we've gained in the struggle for our rights. And we will not stand by idly as you try to tear us down. If we have to, we will organize a strike. We'll never give up, singer. We will never give up. We will never give in. And we'll never ever go away. We will build a brand new future for our daughters and our sons. We will work till all workers rise as one. Well, we didn't have a penny in the strike fund, sad but true, that made us all a little bit afraid. But the call went out to every other union in the state, and somehow all the workers' bills were paid. You see, this isn't just our struggle, and it isn't just our jobs, and it isn't just the schools within our town. When we dare to raise our voice in solidarity, we stand with every other worker all the world around. We'll never give up. We will never give up. We will never give in. And we'll never ever go away. We will build a brand new future for our daughters and our sons. We will work till all workers rise as one. Held a rally at the fairgrounds to show 'em our resolve and drum up some support for our campaign. 1,000 people hit the street, that's more than half our town. And after that, you know, things couldn't be the same. Well, whoever would have guessed it when this whole thing began? We'd have the strength to hold out for so long. But 3 months have now gone by, and the school board just gave in on their demands. Now we can sing our victory song. We'll never give up. We will never give up. We will never give in. And we'll never ever go away. We will build a brand new future for our daughters and our sons. We will work till all workers rise as one. Never give up. We will never give up. We will never give in. And we'll never ever go away. We will build a brand new future for our daughters and our sons. We will work till all workers rise as one. We will build a brand new future for our daughters and our sons. We will work till all workers rise as one. We will work till all workers rise as one.
Joe Jencks, thank you so much. That was absolutely exquisite. And I felt really lucky to get to learn that song and to get a chance to sing it. Thank you for bringing that to us. A lot of power in that. So a lot to think about and a lot to chat about today in this room with a beautiful song by Peter and Mary Alice Amidon, or not by, but yes, by, we know what we mean here. And another one actually by Joe Jencks. You know, there's a little something actually about sort of that almost conflicting, one could see it as conflicting between celebrating on the same day, the sort of English celebratory, European, joyful, primarily white culture of May Day. And then, of course, the thought about struggles of workers and of lower class. And in fact, I will say that yesterday we brought up the Kentucky Derby in here. We were talking about that. And today there was a really great article in the Washington Post, which we're going to post into the chat for you, about thinking about the Kentucky Derby in light of struggles that we've all become more aware of in our country in this past year. And it's really interesting to look at anything we're doing anymore as we think about returning to normal celebrations or traditional celebrations, and then trying to view them through an anti-racist lens or through the lens of inclusion. And so I just want to say that as we start our discussion, talking about these two amazingly beautiful, important, celebratory, honoring day merged into one here. And I also want to mention that I forgot when I started to say that this is still the Institute of Musical Traditions Carpe Diem Arts Week, that we do not have David Eisner with us hosting today, but I want to shout out the IMT for helping us to make this week possible, and shout out Carpe Diem, obviously, for all that they're doing to keep this program going. And I want to, I think, actually, Joe and Peter and Mary Alice, if you could all just unmute, and if we can chat about both of these important markers for today. And Joe, I know we have, you are actually going to be, I'm not sure how many folks in the room know this, next week we're going to be starting our Labor Heritage Week with Joe Jencks hosting for the week. We're going to have a week
with Elise Bryant as well. Elise Bryant is co-hosting, yeah.
Yes, and we thank you for the reminder. We have a beautiful flyer that is actually just completed and will be emailed out today to all of you. And we're super excited to do that. Joe, do you want to begin the conversation talking a little bit about workers and struggles and what we're honoring today?
I'd love to try and cram what I would publish in a book into about 6 sentences or less. But what I would say is that the pagan celebrations of May Day and the workers' celebrations of May Day walk hand in hand. They're not antithetical or in any way opposite of each other. This is historically a day in which many people celebrate with joy the coming of the warmer times, more light, more hope, more joy, abundance. And many of the people who endeavored to hang on to their pagan beliefs experienced tremendous oppression. There were class divisions that were made in the face of colonialism, even, 2,000 or 2,500 years ago, that I think still play out in the idea, certainly in the UK and in North America and other parts of Europe, around the world, into this idea of there being a strata or a caste or a class system. And so I think the two walk hand in hand as a celebration of liberation. And there's a reason that the labor community internationally picked May Day in the 1880s as the day in which they wanted to remember not in a mournful, solemn way alone, but in a beautiful and celebratory way. The spirit of all those workers whose lives had been given in toil and in solidarity to move societies forward.
Thank you, Joe. That was an incredible book packed into 6 sentences. And in fact, you're reminding me of another article that I read about May Day traditions that did, in fact, pull a lot of that together, what you just said. So I will look for that article and send it out also in the email today when I send out the labor flyer, because it did bring all of it under one house in a way like you just did. And thank you for that beautiful reminder. So do you want to say anything before we chat with Peter and Mary Alice? Do you want to say anything about the upcoming week?
It's going to be an amazing week. Labor Heritage Foundation is partnering with Carpe Diem and Washington Rebels. Elise Bryan is the executive director of the Labor Heritage Foundation, and she was gracious enough to be willing to work with me when I raised my hand in a meeting with Joe Rossi and said, hey, maybe we could do a labor thing, and never raise your hand in a meeting, but
Joe Rossi.
but it's going to be a great week. We've kicking off on Monday with Charlie King, and Peggy Seeger is going to join us, and Susan McNellis, and Maria Dunn's going to join us from up in Edmonton, Alberta. It's going to be some great music all week long. Lucy Murphy's going to be back. I think she's joining you either tomorrow or maybe she was here yesterday, but she'll be back with a labor song. And it's going to be a wonderful week of singing and celebrating the spirit of May Day moving forward for a whole week.
That is beautiful. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, Joe is one of those people who takes ideas and makes them into reality. So it's easy to have the ideas, and it's a whole other thing to turn it into a public program that can help all of us to sing and learn all week long. So thank you, Joe. It's beautiful, and I'm so excited to work with you. Lucy Murphy is, in fact, singing with us tomorrow, and we're going to chat a little bit about why she's not singing with us today. And that's because she's down on the National Mall, actually engaged in person in today's important holiday. And so we will be able to chat about that tomorrow with her. Peter and Mary Alice Amidon, would you like to chat at all about your song and about your, anything?
Okay, well, just tangentially in a way, it's the time of opening up in our society right now with the virus sort of subsiding, but not yes and no. And so the buds, the nature is opening up, and that line, life in all her growing powers toward the light is striving. And I love the one about the urban plant, now bestirring green and strong, slumbered from their finding growth, their pleasure. I mean, that's what we're all doing in a way right now, and the light coming, and it's nature just knows how to show us the way.
And I add to that, I loved, Joe, what you said about, how you wed the May Day traditions and the May Day political movements that have happened. That was really beautiful. I think I might just add to that the May Day in England, a lot of these are English traditions, were always done by the rural working people. It was a working class. These are working class traditions that people did that combined the sacred with the secular, and not really caring what was what, but just celebrating May. But I also want to say that I remember the first time I met Joe Jencks. We were on the same stage at Old Songs, which is where we've met a lot of really wonderful people, and I didn't know at all who he was or what was going to happen, and I became instant and eternal fans of Joe's music. And that's also just to say that that's something that happens at festivals a lot. And so where is that happening now? Right here. This is where we meet. That's where I've met, so many other, and it's been great to see Joe and to talk to you, Joe, but also we've met some really wonderful, wonderful musicians and all of you folks who just come every time. And this is a really big part of our community. So thanks for that. It works. It really does work. And we're going to, we just want to hang on to that. So thank you for that.
That is beautiful. Thank you. So, of course, I love having Joe Jencks in the room, because then anybody who says Joe, I can just imagine that they're only just giving all of that praise to me. So Joe, I'm just going to own all that. No, I'm just kidding. So it's been a really good reminder, actually. And Peter, Mary Alice, you just said something about this, but oftentimes the traditions that are behind any particular celebration get lost over time. The celebration or the commercialism or whatever the pieces are that are easy to think about are what we carry forward, and the parts of it that are maybe more complicated or even harder get lost. So I have and do regularly lose a lot of the roots of the May traditions, beyond just the fact that at revels we might put on our whites and our flower crowns and dance around and be joyful. And I think it's a really good thing to remember all of the roots. And so, Joe, thank you for bringing that up. And Peter and Mary Alice, thank you for reinforcing it. And I will put something into the email later today to remind us of different ways to think about where we are right now as a culture, both in the Kentucky Derby article and in the May article that I'll send out. So Peter and Mary Alice or Joe, do you want to say anything about how you're going to spend the rest of your day, or anything about what's coming up for you?
Go ahead, Joe.
Well, the true answer is I will be spending the rest of my day rendering unto Caesar what is Caesar's. If we want to go back to the very early pagan times, I'm going to be buried in tax paperwork the rest of the day. So it is delightful to spend my time today starting off this beautiful May Day with all of you. And I will take a walk in the woods, but I'm looking forward to this whole week of Labor Heritage Week here with Daily Antidote, a song. And it's possible I may yet have a concert coming up in June or July, even in May, but there's not a lot on the calendar. There's a few live things, and people can go to my website, joejencks.com, JoeJencks, and get updates and information, or if you have questions, shoot me an email. And thanks so much for all the work that Carpe Diem and Washington Revels have put into this, and to the Amidons, thank you so much for your music. That just absolutely lifted my spirit today to hear that, and I was harmonizing like crazy over here with my mic muted. So I look forward to being together in the same place when it's safe to do so, and I'll add that third harmony part in person.
Please do. What are you doing today, Mary Alice?
Well, I'll be crashing because we've had our grandchildren overnight last night, and this morning we got up and went to a really beautiful rock quarry to show them. It was quite magical, and then we had the maypole party. So I think I'm going to lie down for a while. But this week we're going on our first vacation to Maine, to the rocks of the Rocky Coast north of Portland, and spending 3 nights just relaxing. So I'm really kind of looking forward to that, which means also no grandchildren.
And I'm going to go be working on some. I've been doing a lot of choral work, ironically, this whole week, but it's been this whole year. But it's been virtual choir work, mostly for our church. So I'll be working on some of the pieces for church services coming up, where the singers sent in files and I turned it into Oh, and just I want to mention also, anybody who wants it, that the Flower Carol, which you don't need. All you need is really the lyrics, but I do have it as a free download with a little harmonization I did, a 4-part harmonization on our website, AmidonChoralMusic.com. It's a free download, so but yeah, no, just we're doing a lot of music actually, and it's been really, and this, and also the kind of virtual choir stuff that we do every week, about 3 or 4 virtual choir pieces in our church choir. So, and
we are in an Irish tune class, which is on Zoom, but it keeps us practicing our instruments,
a lot of music,
accordion and fiddle.
And it sounds like, Joe, you've been busy enough. It sounds like just virtually. Is that true?
I have been surprisingly busy. I spent about 6 weeks, the end of April and all of May and the first part of June last year in what I just referred to as tech boot camp, where I was busy turning recording technology into broadcast technology and understanding the missing links and the weird prescription drug interactions between various computer programs that really shouldn't work together, and you somehow try and find a hack to make them function. And but yeah, I look back and I've done over 120 live engagements in the last year via YouTube, via Zoom, via hanging out with you folks here at Washington Revels. I was amazed that during the pandemic and during shutdown, that so much of the music and folk communities, the community choir communities, all these sort of grassroots music communities. Little shout out to Dick there in Victoria. Thank you, brother. And all the other folks who really love music and who are nourished by music have continued to support all of the new ways in which we can connect through the music. And it really began with me deciding that the question I was going to ask myself every day during the pandemic was, what can I give? Not what can I get or what can I accomplish, but simply what can I give? And to that end, I really do want to give a special shout out to Joe Rossi and to the Washington Rebels and to Carpe Diem Arts and to all of you who've been supporting this, because it was so easy when I was first approached and asked to participate in this to say yes, because it was so obvious that this is a community that was asking the very same question. What can I give in a time when there is so much need and we don't know how to give ourselves to that need in a useful way? We don't really know how to alleviate the extraordinary nature of the suffering that's going on in the world writ large. Just asking that question every day, what can I give, has been a mantra for me. And by showing up in this space, I've also received a lot. So thanks to all of you who have stalwartly supported this with your presence, with your checkbooks, with your volunteer hours. This has just been such a lifeline for so many people, and you have no idea how wide the ripple of this event is. So much so that when you Google, you start to write daily antidote a song is the first thing that pops up on Google. That's how many people, like statistically, have found this, that it's the first thing that pops up when you start typing that. Not the Daily Show, not, other stuff. Gets you daily antidote of song. It just pops right up there. So, that's a pretty cool thing to have accomplished in the midst of such separation, to foster such amazing community. So thanks to all of you.
Joe, Jencks, thank you. That is really fun to know. And one of the things I've definitely noticed is when we Google some of our artists, the first concerts that come up for a lot of them are multiple daily ands in a row. So that's kind of fun also. And I love the fact that you just brought up that phrase, not what can I accomplish, but what can I give? Because I think potentially maybe pre-pandemic, we had accomplishment and giving all intertwined in our head. And if you take the accomplishment factor out and you turn it into that, basically what your accomplishment is the giving, it feels to me like it really opens up a whole new world and a whole new way of living and of being community and of creating community. So, I'm at two minds here as to whether or not we sing the Peter and Mary Alice chorus again first or the Joe Jencks chorus again first. So I don't know, Joe and Peter and Mary Alice, one of you guys want to decide?
We could go first.
We'll just do the Through Each Wonder of Fair Days, the fourth verse, the last verse, and then we'll finish with Joe.
Great.
So open your chats. It's the fourth verse that starts, Through each wonder of fair days, God herself expresses. And here we go. Through each wonder of fair days, God herself expresses. Beauty follows all her ways, as the world she blesses. So as she renews the earth, artist without rival, in the grace of glad new birth, we must seek revival.
Another big thank you to Peter and Mary Alice Amidon for all of that beauty. It is so lovely to hear your harmonies. We miss harmonies so much. And your glorious, cheerful voices. Thank you for bringing that to our space again. Lots of love to you. Happy napping, Mary Alice.
And can you tell us again who wrote the words to that?
That is, I'll tell you briefly. It's a traditional 13th century Latin hymn. And that melody is the original melody, the Flower Carol. And it was translated in the 20th century by the Oxford Book of Carol people. But it's an ancient 13th century traditional spring song.
From the Pie Cantiones.
Yeah.
Well, that explains why Good King Wenceslas has always had such hopefulness imbued into it, even though it's a winter song. That's fantastic. That's great. Thanks for that. Wow. All right. Rise as one more time. We will never give up. We will never give in. We'll never, ever go away. We will never give up, we will never give in, and we'll never ever go away. We will build a brand new future for our daughters and our sons. We will work till all workers rise as one. We will build a brand new future for our daughters and our sons. We will work till all workers rise as one. We will work till all workers rise as one.
Joe Jencks, thank you so much for bringing that composition to us. You are an amazing artist and an amazing presence in this room. Thank you also, Peter and Mary Alice Amidon. Let's all give like really just over the top Saturday cheers for all of our, yeah, okay, thank you. There you go. And I just want to say to everybody, happy rest of your Saturday. Happy May Day, happy International Workers' Day. Please join us tomorrow for Lucy Murphy, while we also continue thinking about labor, and all next week for our Labor Heritage Week with Joe Jencks and Elise Bryant. And thank you again to everybody in the room for being here today. Hugs and love, Peter and Mary Alice, thank you so much. And Joe Jencks, thank you so much. Deborah and Mabel and Susan and Deli, thanks gang. Al and Dick, Sheila, Dennis, Kevin, thank you so much. Becky and Carol, Sarah, Trish and Arlene, thank you. Great hat for both Arlene and for Deborah. Doug, thank you. And Susan and Bonnie and Ione and Anna. And for anybody who missed Ione's birthday song by David Roth a couple of days ago, you got to check that one out on the Facebook Live video because it was just rocking. And another shout out to an amazing woman. Anna, thank you. And Luda, and hearts to Luda and everyone in this room. I love this heart thing. And Jamie, oh look, it's also glasses. Jamie and Harriet and Tom and Peter and Janet and Susan and Jim and Kathy and Storm and Mommy. So yesterday in the cocktail party, we learned all kinds of interesting things. Like, for example, that Jim in New York is related to Kate in Charlottesville. That's pretty cool. And, you know, we already know that Sarah in Texas is related to Becky in Vancouver. So like all of these lovely Rosalie who goes with Deborah, even though they're like 15 states apart. And yeah, so this is one of the great things about when we get together off screen, or well, still on screen, but off like the live stream screen, and actually join together and build community. So I'm welcoming everyone in this room and everyone out there on Facebook Live also to join us for our next cocktail party in a few weeks and keep the chat going. It's a lovely, lovely way for us to really get closer and build on what we built on in here. So on that note, actually, goodbye to everybody out there on Facebook Live, and thank you for joining us, and can't wait to see you tomorrow.